a heart that hurts. I want to spend my life mending broken people. I want to spend my life mending broken people.
Hello and welcome to another 3ABN Today cooking program. I'm your host, Melody Caviness, along with my husband, Rendall Caviness. Fancy meeting you in a kitchen.
Yes, that's not unusual for me.
He loves the kitchen. I want to put one of those bells on the refrigerator so every time he touches it, it just dings and goes off. Anyway, we love being here at 3ABN, especially this time of year at Thanksgiving. There's so much to be thankful for, but we want to share some wonderful recipes with you today, and hopefully you'll enjoy them as much as my family, and hopefully your family and you too. We have a blended family. Today we're going to have the creamy celery soup with the stuffed baby portobellas, quick turkey-style gravy, cranberry green beans, the cream sauce with a hint of garlic potatoes, cucumber tomato salad, the aquafaba whipped topping, along with the pumpkin torte. You know, everything looks so delicious. I can't wait to get in there and start cooking. So why don't we go to the first recipe, which is our creamy celery soup. Would you mind reading those ingredients?
I'd be happy to. 2 cups of water, 3 cups diced celery, 1 cup onions diced very fine, 1 cup of vegetable broth, 2 1/2 cups potatoes peeled and steamed, 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast flakes, 1/2 teaspoon onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon celery flakes, 1 teaspoon salt or salt to taste, 1/2 cup raw almonds or almond flour.
You know what I like about this recipe?
What's that?
Is I used to use cornstarch to stick thickening things, and you've noticed in about the last year and a half, I started using potatoes as my thickening. Now I know they are a starch, but the good thing about it, it is a complex carbohydrate.
Right.
So I don't mind that, because some of your other thickeners, they're more of a refined starch. And this really works good. You don't have to wait for it to cook. I can do it all, of course, in a Vitamix. I can do it that way. Here in this pot, Rendall, I have already started to steam the celery, the onions, and the vegetable broth. And if you don't mind turning that on low, while I start putting things in the, there you go, into the Vitamix. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my almond flour. I like using the almond flour. You've seen me use that a lot lately. It's so accessible. And then I am going to take some nutritional yeast flake, not very many. I don't want it to taste like cheesy sauce. I just want it to have a good taste. And then here is my onion powder, or granulated onion, whatever you have. Now, salt, I'm going to put a little bit in first. I would rather reserve that and not have as much in case I don't want it. And my celery flakes. These you can buy right in the grocery store, normally wherever they sell the seasonings or the spices. Now, my potatoes are already steamed. The reason why I don't want to put raw potatoes in here is because if you put raw in, it's going to be kind of shiny. The thickness will not be rice. It's very starchy. So I'm going to start off with that many right now. And my water. Let's try that much.
Goes that noisy machine.
Oh, this is your favorite machine in the house, isn't it? He'll shut the door to the back part of the house when I'm in the front making it. I don't think it'll be as bad as what you think it's going to be. What do you think? And see, look how fast the starch already blends. I'm going to add just a little bit more water. And you like this recipe, don't you?
Does a job in a hurry.
Fast. Now, if I would have used the raw almonds instead of the almond flour, which is nothing more than just ground up almonds, it would have taken longer. And that way, if you have a blender that is not as powerful, you're able to do this much faster too. What I want to do here, Rendall, you've already got that steam, and oh, that looks good.
Looks good.
I am going to add my cream sauce. See how creamy that is in just
Very
that little bit
creamy.
of time?
Wow.
You know, I used to love cream of celery soup, but it's full of cream, and I don't use cream anymore. So now I have the cream of celery soup anytime I want it. And this is one of your favorite soups, isn't it? I love this one.
A week or so ago, you made that, and I wanted some more. So
Well, you ate it all.
today's the day.
Yes, today is the day. Lucky you, huh? That is all it takes. This is so simple. Now, I know that I had already steamed some of my celery and onions, but that's okay. You know, I just saving a little time here, but it doesn't, it just saved maybe 3 to 5 minutes at most. This is such a simple recipe. I like to steam my potatoes ahead of time. Some people microwave them, just whatever you want to do, but it's all good. What do you think of that?
Very good.
Well, we're going to go to the second recipe, which is our stuffed baby Portobellos. Would you like to read that
Certainly.
recipe? Thank you.
1/2 cup onions diced fine, 3 cups prepared dried bread, cubed croutons, 2 cups prepared creamy celery soup recipe, 1/4 cup carrots diced small, 1/2 cup celery diced small, 1/2 teaspoon onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of poultry seasoning, 1 cup vegetable broth, 8 to 10 baby portobello mushrooms. Remove the stem and hull them out.
You know what I like about this recipe here too?
Said.
I didn't need to worry about a turkey or turkey-ish or something that I had to make that was different to, you know, have a turkey. Portabellas really help with texture when you're looking for a meat substitute. And I thought, why not the portobello mushrooms stuffed with like a stuffing mix? And it worked out perfect. You tried it, you loved it.
Yes, I did.
You're always so grateful. He loves everything. So this is a really quick recipe. Let's start off here. Now I've already hauled out my portobellos, as you can see.
Right.
They're just so nice. Now I like to buy the big organic ones, and they're pretty accessible and they're very inexpensive. And the first thing I'm going to do is drop in my homemade croutons. Now these are wheat, so this is a really good whole wheat bread, but you can use gluten-free. It doesn't matter. Then I'm going to use some of my vegetable broth. Now this is something you can use with salt or low salt or no salt. Stuffing wouldn't be anything without onions and celery, right? You like stuffing, don't you?
I certainly
You
do.
certainly like stuffing. How do you feel about this one? Because you probably ate the one with eggs before, and now there's no eggs in this one.
I think that this is just as good, if not better.
Oh, I like
And
that.
for you.
Oh, and I'll just keep you for saying all those nice things. No, I'd keep him anyway. And then my poultry seasoning, that is my onions.
Okay.
And we're going to put a little bit of salt in here. We don't need a lot because we've got salt
No.
here. And I'm going to keep you busy here in just a minute.
I've got my gloves on.
He's got his gloves on, yay! I should call you Dr. Caviness. Now it's going to appear like it's stiff, you know, like, oh, my bread is so crispy. That's okay, because when this bakes in the oven, it's going to really absorb all this moisture, and it's going to be really, really, really nice.
And it smells wonderful.
That does, doesn't it? Mmm. That nice celery soup. I like that, Rendall. What do you think? Think that looks good?
Looks really good.
If
Really
you'll hand me a spoon over there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you use your gloves, and I'm going to spoon it in. But if you want to get your mushroom up there and just start taking your hand and putting it right in, so you could do it both ways. Do you see what I mean?
Gotcha.
And I'm just stuffing them just really effortlessly.
Effortlessly.
I don't think I can say that. Is that like aluminum foil?
Yes.
I can't say that.
Without effort.
Without effort. Oh my goodness, somebody's going to send me a memo. You need to speak good English. Isn't this nice?
Very nice.
Now, whenever I bake these in the oven on about 350 degrees, and I pour just a little bit of the broth, that vegetable broth, in the bottom of my baking dish, and normally I will cover it so it acts as a steam. Everything comes out so nice. Then I take the lid off, and for the last 10 minutes maybe, I let it brown on the top. And it tastes a lot like turkey and dressing. You're doing a good job, honey.
Tastes crunchy too.
Does it taste crunchy?
Well, yes.
Yes. You don't even remember eating this, do you? Oh, you know what's good with this? Cranberry sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love cranberry sauce.
What's Thanksgiving without cranberry sauce?
Oh, I can't imagine. That'd be like having a car with no tires or something. Now, I usually always have some leftover stuffing mix. And you know what I do with that, Rendall? I find me a dish that's oven safe, and I put that dish full of the leftover stuffing mix, put it in the oven and bake it and just have it alongside. Somebody might not like the mushrooms, but they're really good. And that's it. I mean, this is so delicious. You've got to try this at home. But why don't we move on to our next recipe, which is a quick turkey gravy, if you'd read that recipe.
Certainly. 1/2 cup Leahy's chicken style gravy mix, gluten-free. 1/2 cup Leahy's beef style gravy mix, gluten-free. And 2 1/2 cups of water.
You know, this is really so simple. I hate to even use it as a recipe, but I love it.
It's simply good.
It is good. You know, I like Leahy gravy. It's been one of my favorite. Years ago, we used to use Loma Linda, and then it kind of disappeared. And when you take turkey style gravy, and you take, chicken style gravy, and you take beef style gravy, and you combine them together, that's what restaurants use to give you a turkey style gravy. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm combining the two gravies, and I am going to put just a little bit of water in here. For the sake of time, I have this water already boiling, but I do not want to add the dry gravy to the liquid here that's hot. Why would I do that? Why wouldn't I do that?
My question is why the cold water and when you've got the hot water to make a gravy mix?
If I take this powder here and I add it to that hot water, it's going to clump immediately.
Okay.
So the reason why that I stir it with a little bit of cold water first is to activate that. So when now
it'll thicken with the gravy.
Yes, and it won't clump up on me.
Oh.
So that was the reason for that. And then I'm going to continuously stir my hot water. And you know, less is always best. So if I was to get too much, I'd have to add more water. So I'd rather start out with less of my gravy mix and let it thicken up. Now, to me, that is just a little bit thinner than I want. So what would I do?
Add a little.
I'd add a little bit more. That is so simple. That's why I never put all of it in at one time. And even whenever I cook gravy at the house, Rendall, when I use a gravy like this instead of making a nut gravy,
right.
I've actually made a bean gravy before. Have you tasted that bean gravy?
I don't remember having that.
This is something that Nikki Anderson told me about when we was doing our program on Focus on Healthy Food on 3ABN Radio, and it was so delicious. And she had tried it one day and used pinto beans for like a gravy. Wow. It was really good, and just seasoned it. That is perfect. Look at that gravy now.
Just love a brown gravy on mashed potatoes.
Yeah, you can't go wrong, can you? Now, is this hard or is this what?
I think I could do that.
You think you could do this one? Watch this.
Ooh.
That is perfect turkey gravy. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking.
Where are my potatoes?
Where are your potatoes at? That's what he loves, potatoes with his gravy, that's for sure. I like to pour it over, make a toast. Yes, we like that. We do that. We like that really well. Why don't we go on to the next recipe, which is going to be our green bean cranberries.
All right. 2 pounds green beans cleaned and trimmed, 4 cloves of garlic minced, 1/2 cup red onions diced, 1 orange zest, 1/2 cup juice sweetened cranberries, 3/4 cup almonds roasted and roughly diced, 1/2 teaspoon salt to taste.
You know, Rendall, I like the green beans and cranberries because I like that hint of garlic in there, along with the cranberries. I like that kind of, what is that, that subtle flavors of both of them. I really like that. And you like that. We both love green beans. We do like them. And I've got my trusty little steamer over here.
We have carried that all over the United States.
Oh, we have. I love this machine. Here she goes.
She's whistling.
She's whistling. Let me turn her whistler off. She says, no, no, don't do that to me. There. I love this. I love this pot. You can see it steaming. What I did, because my green beans were raw, which I love raw, I don't like to buy canned foods if I don't have to. There's more nutrition when you have the fresh.
Right.
And so that's what I do, lightly steam it. But I put my red onions and my garlic in here because I want those flavors to steam together and I want it to take on that essence. So it does, so you're not overpowered by one or the other. And actually, you're going to find this a little bit strange when I do this, but I'm going to take some of my cranberries.
Well, it's Thanksgiving.
Well, yeah, but to put my cranberries in there and let them steam.
Okay.
So I want them to steam in there a little bit too.
Okay.
And I don't like any of my vegetables to look emaciated. I want them to look bright and colorful. Sometimes people will take green beans and just cook them to where they're like brown. I want green, vibrant colors. So just, some people will take them to just before they turn, shock them, put them in ice water, and then you continue cooking them some more and it'll keep that green color. But for here, I like mine just a little bit on the crunchy side, and I think you do too.
When they're too well cooked, they're just limp.
They're mush.
They're like a noodle.
They're just mush, and you and I, neither one like that. So isn't this beautiful? I love this. I love the colors that's going on in here. I love the flavors. I love the smell, and I'm just going to put a little bit of salt.
What kind of salt is that?
This is the Himalayan salt, Rendall. You know, we really don't use a lot of salt in our home. And I had high blood pressure. You used to have high blood pressure. So both of us have really cut back on our salt. When we do use salt, the only one we use is the pink Himalayan, the real salt, or the Celtic sea salt, because they have at least 80 to over 100 trace minerals in them. And we were created by God. And we were created from the earth where all the minerals are. So our bodies are made of minerals and we need the minerals. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, these are right, Rendall. I like them at this stage right here where they're just nice and tender. And I like to start plating them
bright.
here. Aren't they bright and green? Now, let me ask you something. If, say, you were coming over to our house and you were a guest and you were coming over to eat dinner with us, how likely would you be to want to eat these green beans over green beans that might be brown?
No comparison.
None. And I've had people say when they come over and eat, Rendall, and they look at our table and they say, it's such a delight to see this beautiful food. I can't wait to eat it. And they're not disappointed either. Look at this. I love this.
Good job.
And you know how many what is the calorie on 1 cup of cooked green beans? Was it 44?
Similar, yes.
Oh my, we could eat so many. And now I'm just gonna
You can't overeat on vegetables, can you?
I don't know how you could. You'd have to eat cups and cups and cups.
In vegetables, it's cups and cups you can eat. You couldn't possibly eat that many
in
and get too many
comparison.
calories.
Right, and we talk about that when we do our seminars, about how when you eat the food that God made for us and eat it in the way that God created it, as natural as possible, then we don't have to worry about the diseases. We can eat the food God gave us and be as healthy as we possibly can. Now, how good is that? Yeah, you're wanting to get your fork right now. Well, why don't we go on to this next recipe? You're going to love it. This is kind of a 2-part recipe, but this is our cream sauce and our hint of garlic potatoes. Would you like to read that?
Certainly. 2 to 3 medium potatoes skinned and steamed, 1 cup of almond flour, 1 1/2 teaspoon salt or to taste, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and 3 to 4 cups of water. 8 to 10 medium red potatoes skinned and sliced, 1 medium onion diced, 3 cloves of garlic minced, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 recipe cream sauce.
You know, Rendall, this is one of my favorite cream sauce recipes.
All right.
I have used this when I've had pasta like a primavera. I have used this for adding to soups to make like that cream or that chowder base. I have used this for so many recipes, it's amazing. I love it in Italian, especially like a creamy lasagna. I've used it in the creamy lasagna. And I've made scalloped potatoes for years, and I did kind of a mushroom sauce style for my my potatoes, sorry. And this recipe I started one time when I decided to transfer over to potatoes for my thickening. I thought, man, this is way too good. And I normally don't like garlic on my potatoes. I'm an Irish girl, I just like potatoes plain. But it really is so nice just to have that mild hint of garlic in here with this cream sauce. So,
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Do you use your broccoli cauliflower soup with this?
With this recipe?
Concoction?
I do. Anytime I make a cream sauce or like the soup, he loves my broccoli and cauliflower cream soup. And this is my base. I used to use, like I said, cornstarch, but now I've transitioned into the potatoes that are already cooked. So what I'm going to do while our potatoes have been peeled, they have been sliced, and I've put my onions and my hint of garlic in here, and they're steaming right now. And I don't want them to get all the way done, just enough so when this goes into the oven, the cooking time is like 20 minutes at best. So right now, I am going to have you reach over there and turn this off all the way. There, is it off? And I'm going to start my sauce. Simple, simple. And what I also like about this sauce, when you're done with it, it's done. You don't have to cook it on the stove. You don't have to grab more pans to cook it in, Rendall. It is just done. And my almond flour, you know, I've really gotten to where I use a lot of that almond flour. And my onion powder, or granulated onion, whichever type you like to use, it doesn't matter. And so I'm going to put this in the blender too. And my salt. Now I am using potatoes here, and what happens when you use salt, Rendall, when you're cooking with potatoes?
Good
Do you know?
question.
It just absorbs all the sodium. And I mean, really, you think I've got enough salt in there, and I don't like a lot of salt in my food. And then I'll put my potatoes in there mixed together, and I'm thinking, what happened? Did I forget the salt? So it does. It, like rice, it just absorbs that flavor. So it also absorbs the...
She's a chef, and she's asking me those questions.
I figured you'd heard it so many times. Maybe you didn't.
Well, maybe you're just trying to see if I was awake or not.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So I'm going to turn this on. We don't have to, you know, mix it long, but I just want to make sure of my consistency. Oh, look at that. See, it's already, and that's why I always add just a little bit of water. And a little more.
Like you can use that like with a pasta?
Oh, absolutely. I love to use it with a pasta.
With a primavera kind of...
With the primavera. I have used it on some of our dishes that way.
I think you have. I just didn't realize that was it.
Yeah. I'm going to put that in here. And I'm going to turn it on high.
Again, that's a noise in your thing.
I know it is, but man, doesn't it do a good work?
Beautiful.
If I let this go long enough, when I take the lid off, you're going to see steam immediately, and it cooks it. I can take it right out of the Vitamix and actually eat it. All right, and this is still turn that off over there, Rendall. I don't think we got it off. And then hand me that metal spoon up there with a, yes. And I'm just going to add some of the potatoes, and as you can see, the potatoes have started to get soft. They're getting transparent a little bit. You can see the starch starting to cook out of them. I love potatoes, Rendall. I'm such an Irish girl, you know that.
You are Irish.
Do I have a bad temper? Is that what you're saying? No. He's not
you have
saying.
the red hair.
I don't think I have a bad temper, do I? And whenever I add my potatoes, I like to put a little bit of the sauce on here before I add more. And then I just keep layering this. You can do the same way when you're using lasagna, when you're doing any kind of a pasta. I've used this cream with a rice dish before. I've made a creamy rice soup. Man, I've used it for so many multiple reasons.
Now, what would happen if you, I'm a mushroom person, what would happen if you added some sauteed mushrooms to
Nothing.
it? Nothing?
No, it'd be more like
garlic potatoes, that's the premier taste.
It's a premier taste, but by adding those mushrooms, Rendall, you're just giving that mushroom flavor to it, a little bit more like the mushroom soup. However, the garlic in there is still going to give it a different flavor. Right. And you liked this when I made it.
Yes, I
did.
This
is the first time I had made it, and you really liked it. And I took it to potluck, and it just flew. Oh, I can leave that in there. You can put the lid back on it if you want to reach over there and grab it. This looks good. I always make plenty of cream sauce. And the reason for that is it is a staple in our home. Just like cheesy sauce, always in my refrigerator because you never know when you're going to use it.
Why couldn't you put a little greenery or something on it? You're very good at decorating. Kind of surprised you're not putting a little something on there.
Well, the reason why I'm not garnishing these potatoes yet is they have to go in the oven.
Oh.
So after they come out of the oven, what I would put on here would be green onions.
Okay.
So you got me on that one.
I cut you too short.
He did cut me short, but that's okay. You know, you might have that same question out there. You can also, when you put this in the oven, when you bake this, you can, on the top of it, you can take a little bit of your almond flour just over the top. If you've covered it and then you take the covering off and over the top, it actually acts like a Parmesan style cheese. It really tastes good. And you don't have to put anything in it. Just a little bit of that almond flour acts like Parmesan on the top of these potatoes. Really makes them good. Why don't we go on to our next recipe, and you can read off the one that we're doing on the creamy, I think this one here is a cucumber tomato salad.
Be my pleasure. 2 cucumbers cut in wedges, 4 Roma tomatoes cut in wedges, 1 medium onion halved and cut in slices, 1/2 cup vegan mayonnaise, 2 lemons juiced, 1/4 cup fresh dill diced, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon granulated garlic, and salt it to taste.
Our creamy cucumber salad, Rendall. I like this one, and this is one I take to potluck quite frequently because people love it and it's fresh and it tastes so good. I like dill, and you like dill. I've noticed you like. I might like it a little more than you do, but I really love dill and I love lemon, so combining them together, I love those flavors. What I'm going to have you do on this salad, I've already sliced up the tomatoes, and I like to use Roma tomatoes because Romas are a little taller, and so I slice these in length. Same way I do my cucumbers, same way I do my onions. So if you'll put those together there for me, yes, and I'm going to start making all of them. Yes, yes, we don't want to leave any out. And I'm going to add my dill. And now lemon juice I'm going to add as I go. So I'm going to put a little in, and then I'm going to reserve that in case I need more, okay? And I have my onion powder. I use a lot of onion, don't I?
We like onions.
We do. My salt and my garlic. If you want more garlic in this, do it. If you want fresh garlic, that's good as well.
No, you didn't forget these onions over here, have you? Speaking
of
onions.
You did. I was waiting. That's okay. We would have caught it. Trust me. We would have caught that, honey. And I use a whisk. This is one of those recipes you don't have to use all the fancy blenders. You don't need any of that equipment with it. You can just mix it with a whisk. And I want just a little bit more lemon in this.
You use lemon a lot of ways. I notice you use it on your potatoes.
I do.
Along with your nutritional yeast flakes.
I do. When I eat a baked potato, a lot of times I will steam it or bake it in the oven, and I will put lemon juice, nutritional yeast flakes on it, and that's what I eat on it. I love it that way, Rendall.
Isn't that B12 and the nutritional yeast flakes?
It is. It is. It's a source of B12. And then what we're going to do with this is we are going to add this, and I'm going to have you stir this, but I'm going to just pour this in. And then you're just going to mix that together for me with that spoon.
I can do it.
It's pretty. Wait till you start, when the red from the tomatoes pop in there with that green. Oh, you know, one thing about the holidays is you can still eat. It does. You can eat wonderful food that doesn't have to be laden with fat, processed, tons of sugar. I save the sugar for my dessert and have the rest of my food just as natural as I possibly can, because I don't want to deprive my family of not having dessert. And they love it. They love my cheesecakes. They love the torts. They love everything. Of course we do. We love sweets. Okay, what we're going to do with this, Rendall, if you'll hold this bowl up for me, I'm going to put.
You want it in there?
I do, and if you hold it, I will spoon it in here. Who would not want to eat this? Is that not beautiful?
I wish the folks could smell some of the
I know.
aromas that we smell here.
You know, Rendall, with the onions, the lemon juice, the dill, tomatoes, cucumbers, this is perfect. I can take about 4 batches. When I go to potluck, I do about 4 batches at one time, don't I?
Sure.
In this big, huge bowl, and they know my bowls. And I bring nothing back but an empty dish.
They're starting to ask, where's the vegan table?
Yeah, at our church, they actually said, why don't we start a vegan table? And one of the ladies in the kitchen, she said, ever since you come to church here, we got vegans coming out of the closet everywhere. And that's good, but we have a lot of people who just like to eat good food, and that's all that matters. They're eating good food. Why don't we go on to our next recipe?
Right.
You're going to love this. This is a double recipe, too. Rendall, if you'll read off for the Aquafaba whipped topping and the pumpkin torte. For the Aquafaba whipped topping, you will need 1 15-ounce can of garbanzo bean liquid, 1 teaspoon cream of tartar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1/2 cup of sugar or confectioner's sugar. Now for the pumpkin torte, we want 3 cups of flour, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of coconut cream, 1 cup of pumpkin solid, 1 tablespoon of vanilla, 1 teaspoon maple flavor, 1 cup of almond milk, and 1/2 teaspoon of pumpkin spice. Also, you'll need 1 teaspoon cream of tartar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 cup of applesauce, and 2 cups of Aquafaba. Now we're going to have the frosting for our torte, which is going to be 3 cups of confectioner's sugar, 1 8-ounce container of cream-style cheese, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And for the top of that, we're going to have a caramel sauce, which is a 1/2 cup of almond caramel creamer, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and just a little pinch of pumpkin pie spice on the top with some toasted pecans, roughly chopped. Was that a mouthful?
It was a mouthful, all right.
And people are probably saying, girl, it's going to take me forever to do this recipe. It's not that bad.
Well, look at all of this.
Yes, there's quite a bit here. But I'll tell you, you'll be so glad you did. This is a wonderful recipe. Anytime. It's hard to find pumpkins sometimes outside the holidays, so I usually buy the canned pumpkin. What I'm going to do first is I am going to do the Aquafaba. And for all of you who know about Aquafaba, you can use it in savory dishes, you can use it in sweet dishes, you can use it as whipped topping. This I've already started a little bit because it takes some time to make the peaks on them. I always add the cream of tartar. That is a must when you do Aquafaba because it stays longer, it peaks. Sometimes it'll loosen up a little bit and all I have to do is re-whip it if I haven't used it fast enough. So I already have my garbanzo liquid here. I have my confectioner's sugar. I have my vanilla, and I also have my cream of tartar. So I'm just going to show you. You can see right now this is barely peaking. I'm going to turn on my blender, and we can still talk during this process.
Say, who in the world came up with this?
I don't know.
How would they figure this out from the garbanzo water in the can?
I have no earthly idea, but Rendall, I am so glad they did. This is such an awesome, awesome process.
Our good friend Alvin Mowry, I remember when you were telling him how this would work, he didn't believe it.
Oh no, he said, there's no way. He said, that woman's crazy. But I love this when it's done. It's so light and airy. And it does. It takes probably about, I'd say 4 to 5 minutes to get a really, it does, to get a really good peak. Yes. And see, it's starting to right now.
Now, can you make it different flavors, or is it just?
I think you can. I have not tried that yet, but I really think you can make different flavors on this. But see, it's starting to peak right now. Look at that.
Wow.
Now,
Pretty amazing stuff.
see, you know, if I was using it on top this torte for my frosting, I would blend even longer. I would put it in the refrigerator and cool it until I needed it. I use this in my pancakes, cakes, anything where I need an airy lightness like you would egg whites. You know how when you make a meringue. Have you ever seen this in a recipe book that I've had where somebody made actually a meringue out of this stuff? Wow. It's amazing. Look at that. I mean, really, that's not bad. So I've got this process down, and I'm just going to set that right there. And for sakes, Rendall, I'm just going to leave that sitting right there. I am going to start my caramel sauce. This is something that just adds so much to this recipe. And I've got my almond creamer, and you can find this at Walmart. Rendall, I have seen this in so many different places, so it's not like you can't find this anywhere. It's very accessible.
We've seen it in all the major stores, really.
Actually, I've even seen it in some that weren't. I was surprised. But I have found it in almost every state you and I've went into. And he knows that, and you know why? Because I really like this stuff here.
That's what she uses in her Dandy Blend.
I use it in... Have we told them about Dandy Blend? Surely you guys know about Dandy Blend. Oh, it is amazing. Now, one thing I want this to do, because I want something like a caramel sauce here, and I want this to come to like a hard simmer, almost like it's boiling, and I will put the lid on there and start that process even a little bit more. There we go. See it here on the sides?
That gives off a really good scent, too.
How does it smell?
It smells wonderful.
See, this is a caramel flavor, and I love that. It makes it so much easier for me. Now, there are several ways to make a caramel sauce. This was just a quick and easy way to make it. And I like, whenever I top the cake here, I like to put the toasted pecans on there and drizzle that caramel sauce over the top, Rendall.
I have a question.
Yes.
My dad loved caramel corn. Is it possible that you could put that over a popcorn and make a caramel corn out of it?
Why couldn't you? We'll try that, because we like popcorn, don't we? We'll try that. I don't see why you couldn't, because the consistency, you can have that the same. Okay, now this is my frosting. I love the frosting. I think there's a bowl down here, honey. I'm going to use, oops. Here. Now that actually is what I wanted to do. I just forgot to pull that lid off.
Good save. Good
save, yeah. And you'll see here in just a little bit, this will actually thicken up for that reason. Okay, I'm going to put that back on there. Now, this is, is there another bowl?
Yes.
Do we have another bowl? You're going to need this one for the torte.
Okay.
So let's just change that. In this bowl here, I have my cream style cheese. And there's many brands out there too. You have like Tofutti, you have Follow Your Heart. There's so many different brands. It doesn't matter to me. They all really primarily taste the same. And I, again, add a little bit at a time.
As long as they're non-dairy.
As long as they're non-dairy, you've got that, Rendall. Well, I haven't used dairy in so many years, I wouldn't know what to do using dairy anymore.
Now, how much flour are you putting in there?
Well, this is not flour. This is confectioner's sugar.
Okay.
And I have it already measured out to 3 cups. And I don't have to clean that off. That's going to be fine. I'm going to start out low. If not, you and I'd be wearing this with black. It's not going to be too pretty, honey. And this is going to take the, you know, the cream sauces that you make,
right.
the cream cheese frostings. This is basically what I'm replacing, is that cream cheese frosting.
Now, when you're at the state fair or fairgrounds, how do they make that cotton candy? Is that made out of a confectioner's sugar, or how do they make that?
You know, Rendall, I've never ate it.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. It's just, to me, like just sugar. But I do believe they take raw sugar, put the color in there, and there's this air machine, and it's just air sugar, honestly. Okay.
Coming together.
It is
Pretty
coming
creamy.
together. That's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
And I am going to give this to you. That's a big old long spoon. I should have got a smaller one. Yes, pull that on your side. And I want you to start spooning that in there for me. Thank you.
Say when.
Keep going. Now I'm going to have you hold off for just a moment. I've got to put my vanilla in. And you know, it doesn't take much liquid. You could take a tablespoon of milk, Rendall, and overdo a frosting.
Right.
Now I'm going to up my blender. Now I need some more of the confection sugar. Are we making a mess or what?
It's okay.
This is one of those recipes where you want the kids to come in the kitchen and help. And then you could say, oh, since you helped, you clean it up.
Now, what was it your dad used to tell you when you wanted to be a chef?
Well, my dad owned restaurants and was a chef even in the Navy for the officers. And he always told me, go ahead and put some more in. He said, before you become a chef, you have to learn how to clean the kitchen first. So my dad tricked me for a few years to clean all his dishes before he trained me to be a chef. Now, do you see how that looks?
Sure. It's really good.
It does. I think one more good spoon in here is going to be great.
Wow.
Woo.
It gets kind of a, oh, what's the color I want to call that?
Creamy color?
Kind of a creamy color. Kind of beige.
It does that because of the cream cheese style. That's what causes that, yes.
Mm.
Oh, man.
Good job.
Wrong way. Look at that.
We done with this?
Yes, we are. You can put that underneath, actually, Rendall. And I am going to get a paper towel here real quick to wipe my mess up so we can start on this torte. Now, you know, I've never made a torte with a pumpkin before, and I wanted to try it. I never made one vegan. So this is a new recipe for me that's in my new cookbook. So you can just set that right over there to the side. And I'm going to set this back here. We're going to get rid of some of these.
Now, you're working on some new cookbooks, aren't you?
You know what? I am. I'm always working on new cookbooks, but I completed the Simply Yummy Whole and the Simply Yummy Fresh, and I want to do Simply Yummy Cakes and Simply Yummy Gluten-Free. I just want to keep making recipes. Okay, now I need that big bowl down here. And this is the order in which we want to start it out. This is our flour.
Okay.
So I'm going to put our flour in first.
Now, what kind of flour is that? That doesn't look white.
This is actually a white wheat, but it's it's unrefined. I just like a good whole wheat flour. Or if you're gluten-free, my favorite is King Arthur. I've tried so many different gluten-free because I'm gluten-free. But this has wheat in it, but it's a whole wheat flour. And you're right, it does look a little darker. But you can find it unbleached. But just watch your flours and try to get them as unprocessed as possible. Here is our sugar, and this here is a pure cane sugar.
Okay.
Our brown sugar. which I need a little help getting this out for right now. Sometimes it sticks in here. There we go. And I want the almond milk, if you'll hand that here, Rendall, and pour that in for me. Got that? And then I'm going to do, this is my fat. I'm using the coconut cream here right out of the can. You can actually take water, an unsweetened coconut, like your dried coconut, and make your own coconut fat if you don't want to buy it in the can. But I'm going to give that to you, and then you're going to hand me the hand mixer back. And we're going to blend this.
Now, how many cakes will that make? Is it? I see three layers here. Is that going to make?
That's actually four layers, but that's part of a torte.
Okay.
When you do a torte, Rendall, it actually, you cut, it's 2 layers, and then you actually cut it in half.
What is the definition of a torte?
A torte is when you don't actually, you cut the cake and you don't frost the side of it. So you've got different layers in it. And if you'll put the pumpkin in for me, I'm going to put the applesauce. You've got the pumpkin there. Do you need a spoon? Will it come out one clump? Okay. And then...
Got a little extra here.
Did you get a little... Oh, you're going to eat that, aren't you? This is my cream of tartar. This is my seasoning, my salt, my vanilla, my maple flavoring. Maple flavoring just gives this recipe such a good flavor. And then my leavening.
It has the aroma, a little bit of a sweet potato too.
It does, doesn't it? It's saying, turn me up higher.
That is a lot of ingredients.
I know it is, but Rendall, this is such a good cake. And you know, thank you, I eliminated the butter in this recipe. I eliminated the oil in this recipe, and look what we've got.
We talked about oil and no eggs and no dairy for the health reasons.
Yes, for our health reasons. And if you'll set that over there to the side for me. That's all it takes. I know it looked like a lot and it was a process, but we're done. Except for putting it together and baking it. I'm going to let you hold this for me, and I'm going to put it in our pans.
Now, how long does it take to bake?
You know, I always bake it for about 30-35 minutes. And I stick a toothpick in there to make sure it's done. Now, if the top starts to get a little brown, you can cover that with aluminum foil. There are some really neat products on the market now that you can use where you actually wet these bands that go alongside of your cake and nothing gets brown on on the sides or on the top, and it just keeps a perfect form. Okay, we're done with that. And you know what?
I'll put this.
Gonna put it over there, line your way. You wanna dance here? No,
I think we're dancing a little.
And then this goes in the oven at 350 degrees.
For how long?
350 for that 35 minutes.
35.
And if you need to go 5 minutes, 10 minutes, do it. That's fine. Now we are totally done with that process. We're gonna bake this off, but because of time, you know what? You see the process here. You see how we have these cakes. Here's one here that I cut. And to do a torte, the best thing is to actually frost the outside first. And you don't want to frost the side of the cake, just the outside.
You just want it to appear in the layer?
You just want it to appear in the layers, really, and you just do a thin coating right in the middle. But as you can see, I got a little too much on the other one that we had. Okay, this is the inside of my torte.
Okay. So are these going to be...
And then you just invert them. You just keep coming up and up. Folks, anytime you want to eat healthy, you can do it. It's not that hard. And if you would like to talk to Rendall and I, or maybe to host a seminar in your town, you can just call us anytime. The information is always here at 3ABN. Also, you can go out on the internet and find the recipes at 3abn.org. So if we're moving a little fast and there was a process that you missed, they do have these recipes there, so you can always get them. They're always available. I know a lot of people that will go online to 3abn.org, print these recipes off and put them in your files. We have really enjoyed it so much here today, and hopefully you will contact us to come and do a seminar at your church. And again, my husband's a great musician, so he's always available to come to your church to play his harmonicas. It's absolutely beautiful music. I have enjoyed the Thanksgiving holiday. It's one of my very, very favorite. It's a time that we get together and reminisce over what we're thankful for. And we have so much to be thankful for. Sometimes I think we take it for granted. But Thanksgiving is my very favorite holiday of the year. So here is the information you need to contact us.
If you would like to invite Melody to hold one of her health events in your area, she would love to hear from you. Find out more about her plant-based cooking health seminars, as well as her amazing cookbooks, by visiting her website, melodyprettyman.com. That's melodyprettyman.com. You may also call her at 740-398-6491. That's 740-398-6491, or write to her at Your Healthy Helper, Post Office Box 521, Alvarado, Texas 76009.
We're almost out of time. I cannot believe it, folks. We've done so much in such little time. We shared a little bit of our holiday varieties that we use in our home. First, we started out with the creamy celery soup. We love the creamy celery soup. It is so good, and when we use it in our stuffed baby Portabellas, oh, I love those, Rendall. That is really a good variation outside some of the other products people use. The quick turkey-style gravy, fast. I mean, you can put that together. Anybody can in no time. And then we went to our our cranberry green beans. That's where we mix those beautiful green beans and almonds in with our green beans. They are so delicious. We did the cream sauce with our hint of garlic potatoes. That is such a good blend. Yes, I'm ready to eat those right now. Our cucumber tomato salad. It's just beautiful to look at, and it tastes even better. Now, on the last portion, when we did our Aquafaba whipped topping and our pumpkin torte, where we also made the frosting, and then we made the caramel sauce, this was a component that went all together. Right. And it tastes so good, and I know it takes a little bit of time, but folks, this is such a wonderful recipe, and it's an eye catcher as well, and it tastes just as good as it looks. Now, I must confess though, I forgot the Aquafaba in that recipe, so make sure you put yours in. But we have enjoyed so much being here at 3ABN. This is our family away from home, and we just, again, can't stress how much we love to bring these healthy recipes into your home. Hopefully you will make them a part of your menus and your recipes as well. Again, we love cooking for you. Contact us whenever you want to talk to us. We're always available. Thank you so much for coming in to the studio here at 3ABN.